AI is here to stay.
Oh, yeah.
Students are going to go on to ChatGPT. Why wouldn't they?
I'm on there all the time.
I mean, according to me, if you're intelligent, you are looking
Yeah.
for ways. The only thing is AI as a tool, as an assistant, versus AI as a crutch. Vasudeva Kutumbakam is Sanskrit. It means the world is one family. What it basically means is women are getting liberated, but men aren't. They're still not changing diapers, and when they do, they post it on Insta. And colleges and universities are also great places for figuring out who you are. For making friends, for having fights and making up again. For working in teams sometimes with people you love and sometimes people who you actually don't even know, but designing our programs to suit industry. Now suddenly what you said is true. What am I training people for? Correct. Because you see, and if you remember what I just said, what are we training people for? Universities became training centers as well. So we weren't educating people for the future. We were training people for jobs.
When you look at a classroom, it's still the same. There's still rows of desks facing the teacher. Nothing has changed in terms of the format of classrooms. So do you think the education system today is preparing kids for a world that no longer exists?
I don't know why I'm so excited to disagree with you.
I love that.
But I'm going to disagree with you because I think
Hello and welcome back to the show. If you're new here, I'm Sheen, your host, and today we're joined by a very special guest. And I know I say that all the time, but today I'm super excited because it's a fellow nerd and a fellow educator as well. So this woman has been quietly but powerfully really changing the lives of thousands of students online. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Anita Patankar, who has had over 40 years of experience in the educational world. And she was the first one to launch a liberal arts college in India. And she's also now launched Symbiosis in Dubai. And today we will learn from her what it really means to educate the next generation. Hello, Dr. Anita. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So am I. Listen, tell us a little bit about you. I want to hear from the childhood days. How did it all start? Were you always inclined towards education or did that come later on?
I think it's always been there. I was privileged to be born in a family where my parents were scientists. They both met when they were in college, did their PhDs together, then traveled abroad. So my early schooling has been in New Jersey, where my parents were at Rutgers. And then in Canada, where they were at the University of Alberta. And therefore, I was surrounded by these two amazing people, very ambitious in their own rights, and a mother who was very focused on academics. And she came from a part of Maharashtra, the state that I am from, where in those days, I mean, they're 94 years old today. In those days, girls were really not encouraged to study. Forget about going to university, getting a PhD in something like, physical chemistry, thermodynamics. So I grew up like that, surrounded by books, surrounded by parents arguing constantly about ideologies and about politics and about what was happening in the world. So that's the kind of background that I had. What it also meant was that I also grew up experiencing so many different kinds of schooling systems. And then came back to India and went to an amazing school where the teachers were brilliant. And I think the draw towards understanding that education is important was very strong. If you ask my teachers, they will tell you that I was quite the horrible brat when I was in school and in college. But the draw towards understanding that education is powerful and that teachers have tremendous influence, I think has always been there.
Okay.
And then I think I gravitated to it, I think almost automatically.
But was there a light bulb moment where you thought, I want to become an educator?
To be honest, I don't think in those days when I became a teacher, we actually didn't use the word educator at all. We were teachers. And I think Because while I had experienced amazing teachers, I'd also experienced some really boring ones.
Oh God, yes.
Right? And that you have questions, but you don't feel like you can ask them. Or that someone's not taking the effort to help you learn. And that sometimes you meet somebody in those days, thank God it's changed now, where the focus is not on learning, the focus was on teaching. I think at some point of time when I started my career, I knew that teaching was an option. My teacher said, you love to talk and you connect well with people. And therefore, I don't think there was a light bulb moment. I wish now in retrospect there was. But I think it was just one of those slow, gradual, it just creeps on you very slowly that this is my calling.
Right.
And the first class that I had, I remember it was in Mumbai, Bombay at that time. And I just felt, this is it. This is home. And it's been like that, touch wood, till today.
Okay, I have a few questions now, follow up. The first one being, you highlighted the difference between being called a teacher and an educator and teaching and learning. What is that difference?
When I became a teacher, and in fact, now that I'm thinking about it, in colleges, they actually used a really not so nice term. They'd call you lecturers.
I am called a lecturer.
And for the life of me, I could never get it. When I got my first letter, I said, am I supposed to go and lecture people? And I hated being lectured at home or in class, right? But that is what the job was, that you go in, you've got this bunch of kids, who knows, who cares whether they want to study or not. They're there. And you go in and you do your thing. And teachers would come out of classes and say, I had a fantastic class. I don't think anybody in those days, and I'm talking about the late 70s, early 80s, I don't think they ever really stopped to think, how many students actually got me? How many students actually learned something? Did I focus on what they needed rather than what do I know and what do I share? Over the years, I think societal cynicism, skepticism, distrust, lack of faith in the kind of graduates that were getting produced turned the focus on what was happening in classrooms. And for the first time, I think around the early 90s or maybe mid 90s, people started asking questions. What the heck are you doing in class? What are you teaching? What are they learning? What are they able to deliver? The gap between the classroom and the real world just kept widening, right? And then 1991, India, economic reforms, satellite television, internet. And then suddenly the classroom started becoming less and less and less energized because students were getting their lessons from elsewhere. Today, thank God, most people don't use the word lecturer. I think we've understood enough that nobody likes to be lectured to. And then the focus has been less on teaching something, but on helping students learn. Because it's not about how well you taught or how well you think you taught. It's about how well did students learn and did they learn anything that was valuable. So learning outcomes now are the focus. And this is where I feel in the last 10 to 12 years, the shift from being an educator, because it's more than just delivering a program. For example, it's Symbiosis Dubai, right? There's a program, there's a curriculum, it's CA approved, but it's not sacrosanct in terms of how you deliver it every single day. Do I do it in class? Do I do it through projects? Do I take them out on an industry visit? What's the goal? Do I want students to get 100 out of 100 in an exam? Or do I want them to be able to apply in a real life situation. So it's not about teaching a curriculum. It's about helping them understand what's happening in the world, locating their program, situating their program in terms of the world as they see it, the world that they want to inhabit. And I think that's where the concept of education now has been looked at very differently. It's now much more than just a curriculum. You know, it's about creating citizens for this world. You know, get employment, set up something on your own, be a wonderful homemaker. Doesn't matter where you want to go in life. But are you equipped to navigate the world? And I think that's huge responsibility. Right?
It is.
I mean, the minute someone stops calling you a lecturer and calls you a teacher, huge 200% addition in responsibility. Then from teacher to educator, it's like, whoa. Correct. So in that sense, powerful. Correct. But with great power comes great responsibility, as our old friend Spidey has told us. So I'm happy. I'm happy that now education is slowly getting its due again. You know, classrooms are becoming energized again. Teachers are getting their due in terms of training and inputs. And so I'm excited when I walk through the classrooms now. You know, we are at DKP and I just love what's happening in the classrooms. There are projects happening. You can see people tinkering around. They're in the library. They're on their computers. They've got guest lectures like you coming in. They're visiting factories and they're taking part in hackathons and 101 things. And to me, that's life. That's what a university has to be, you know. And so the focus from teaching to learning, and that's a shift that I think is happening everywhere, right? Doesn't matter what you do, who are you doing it for, and is that impact a desirable impact? Is that outcome a desirable outcome? And that is something that gives me, I'm optimistic, hopeful, absolutely delighted with it.
Okay, well, you know, since I've known that we will be having this chat, I've been super excited because there's one topic I always bring up at every dinner party that I go to, and you are the best person to talk to about this. And I saw this article and then I started digging a little bit deeper. Do you know what hasn't changed in the past 100 years? If we think about what has actually changed in the past 100 years, the phone went from a rotary phone to a smartphone, which has AI on it. In medicine, we now see robotic surgeries happening. Cinemas have gone to silent movies to now 4D immersive movies. Telephones, everything, right? Whatever industry you think, everything has changed drastically. But when you look at a classroom, it's still the same. There's still rows of desks facing the teacher. Nothing has changed in terms of the format of classrooms. So do you think the education system today is preparing kids for a world that no longer exists? Hey dreamers, quick pause from the convo. If you are wondering what the Dreamers Digest is, it's my exclusive online community where I share behind the scenes goodies, lessons from building this podcast, and all the juicy stuff that never makes it to the final cut. If you're not in it yet, check the link in the show notes and come join us. It's 100% free. Also, shocking fact, 89% of you watching this on YouTube right now are not even subscribed. Wild, right? So if that's you, go ahead and hit that button. It would mean the world to me. And now, super exciting news. We launched the Podcast Academy. This is where I've poured everything I've learned from taking this show to 150 million views and turning it into a real business. It's 10 powerful modules packed with tools to help you launch, grow, and actually monetize your podcasts. You'll even get the chance to submit your episode for personal feedback from me and my team. If you've been thinking about starting a show or scaling the one you already have, this is your sign. Click the link in the description box below to learn more. Now, back to the episode.
I don't know why I'm so excited to disagree with you.
I love that.
But I'm going to disagree with you because I think the rows and rows of benches facing the teacher has changed. Today, you've got classrooms which are built very differently. I think we're now looking at the architecture of classrooms as being a component of the learning. So it's a learning space, and therefore you will find modular furniture in so that they can work in groups. So sometimes when you walk into our classrooms, you will see tables put together in squares, so people working in groups. Sometimes you'll come in and they'll be in a U, and the teacher will be one of them. And I think that has to do with the fact that the hierarchy in the classroom has now changed.
Okay.
Where once upon a time, there was a power dynamic. I'm on this side, my students are in front of me. I wield power. I'm the one who decides what's going to happen. Over the past 2 decades, I have to say, that has changed. And I think that has changed because learning has now changed. Why someone wants to learn, how that person wants to learn, and whether they will come to you in class to learn or whether they will go somewhere else to learn. Correct. We're living in a world of micro credentials, online courses. And honestly speaking, I don't think employers really care where you learned as long as you know it and you can do whatever they need you to do. So end result is classrooms have become very interactive, engaging spaces where now educators are seen as facilitators. Now, is this happening everywhere? No.
Yeah.
It's not happening everywhere. And I think it'll take some time for 100% of classrooms to change. That'll probably not happen easily because, I mean, let's be honest. We know it's an unequal.
The gap, right?
The gap.
Yeah.
The gap between schools and classes and economies and budgets for education. But there is a growing number of universities and colleges across the world. And I'm happy that whether it's my home country, India, through its national education policy, or whether it's UAE, which is now my home, the focus is on student learning. And therefore, this change has happened. So we are facilitators. We are facilitators. We are catalysts so that students will learn. And that change has happened. I think one thing that probably hasn't happened as yet is the confidence with which students can come in and challenge teachers. I think that's happening slowly.
It is. Yeah.
Because we've also been brought up, right, culturally, especially in this part of the world.
Of course.
Culturally, that, you respect people and that respect means certain things. So, so at Symbiosis, we say, disagree, but disagree politely. If you are challenging them, then very politely bring forward saying, hey, I came across this article that actually contradicts what we're learning in class. Can we discuss this? And I'm happy to say more and more and more students are actually learning this. You see, and helping students learn how to find their voice.
Yeah.
Not be afraid to voice their opinions, but do it in a way that's polite. Is something that I think many of us are becoming good at in terms of universities. I'm happy that the UAE supports so much in terms of student centricity, right?
Yeah.
And we're spending so much time on training teachers. Back at home in India, Symbiosis has been known. I mean, we were the first to set up a liberal arts program. The liberal arts program is fundamentally based on this. That thinking students, thinking citizens. So the classroom has also changed.
I mean, that's the thing. I want to be hopeful about this, right?
Be hopeful.
I'm trying. It's just because for me, I teach, right? And throughout the years of me teaching, I started when I was in my PhD. I used to think that the education system doesn't really suit the majority of students, first of all, which we have known always. But I just feel like it's not changing quick enough. And now with AI, so one issue we have, and I'm sure you do as well with your students, is they use ChatGPT a lot.
Yeah.
I had an assessment and someone submitted their work with the prompt and everything from ChatGPT copy pasted. And I think that students should be taught how to use AI
Absolutely.
to empower themselves with it without it becoming without it crippling them. And now they're entirely dependent on it and not learning anything.
Yeah.
And again, when you ask students, why did you use ChatGPT? It's because they're lazy.
Yeah.
They don't want to spend time on it. So then the curiosity or that fire to learn is not there. And that's where I think us educators, that's our role, right? To make students interested in whatever we're teaching. Because a lot of times, as you said earlier on, it's just information being thrown at them and hoping that they catch it. So now why don't we just make it in a conversation, making them more interested and putting it in context to the new world that is coming up? Because, okay, I'll throw this question back to you because there's the statistics that came about that said by 2030, 80% of the jobs that will be on the job market do not exist yet today. And that's not very far, right? That's 5 years from now. So what are we training students for? What are they learning for? Because the jobs that will be there are not here today. And it's true throughout history. It always happens this way, right? Even for me, even 10 years ago when I was in school, the job that I do now did not exist, but now this is my job. That's normal, but it's now accelerated. And now the gap between skills and jobs, very big. So how do we train students in order to make them adaptable to the future?
Everything in life comes full circle. If you go back in history, there was a time when higher education did not focus on specific jobs.
Okay.
It wasn't seen as training ground for industry. Graduates were not seen as input for industry. Education was about building character and building citizenry and about holistic understanding of the world. And then at some point of time, industry grew, their requirements for graduates who do a specific job in a particular way grew. And I think we succumbed to that. I mean, now it's over, the genie is out of the bottle, no point in talking about it.
Yeah.
But the reality is, at some point of time, we succumbed to the pressure of helping students get jobs. And I'm not saying that wasn't necessary, because employability is important. But that is what slowly happened. And then we started catering and designing our programs to suit industry. Now, suddenly, what you said is true. What am I training people for? Correct. Because you see, and if you remember what I just said, what are we training people for? Universities became training centers as well. So we weren't educating people for the future. We were training people for jobs. Now with uncertainty about what the heck are they going to be doing, and I don't know, so how am I designing? I am actually happy. Because I think universities have had to go back and relook, what are they actually supposed to be doing? And I love the fact that there is uncertainty. Because when there's uncertainty, you put on your thinking caps, you don't blindly follow what other people are saying, and you say, what can I do to help people navigate an uncertain future? So what are we focusing on? So we don't know what jobs are going to exist, but we do know whatever jobs exist, I'm going to have to learn to be a great learner. I'm going to have to be good at that, learn, unlearn, relearn. I'm going to have to be good at dealing with people. I'm going to have to learn to deal with cross-cultural elements, cross-functional elements. I'm going to have to work across geographical zones. I'm going to have to learn how to solve problems in a sustainable fashion. So now the focus is, yes, there will be a curriculum and it will focus on the jobs that we think are going to be there in the next 5-10 years. Universities will, along with think tanks and consulting groups and industry, try and visualize what is going to happen. And if you look at the research that is being done, you have a certain amount of idea of which way the world is going.
Yeah.
So you focus all of that, and then you come down to, how can I teach all of this? But underlying every single course, how do I get them to learn how to look at data? how to interpret data, how to deal with people, how to navigate through problems, how to resolve conflict, critical thinking, problem solving, working in teams. These are things that I feel are never going to go out of fashion.
Yeah.
You're always going to need it. So therefore, that's what you focus on. And then you focus on the old 200 years old or 100 years old requirement of universities, holistic.
Yeah.
You will have to understand a little bit of economics and a little bit of geopolitics, and you'll have to understand about how business works, and you'll have to understand about how people work. So sociology and psychology and organizational behavior. And we're going back to some of that, which I feel is so important. So comprehensive education, where you then say, you will be able to navigate an uncertain world. And you'll be able to also understand, connect the dots as you're going along. So you don't wake up 10 years from now saying, holy, wow, when did this happen?
Yeah.
Because there are always signs, right? There are always signs. I mean, look at the pandemic. It happened and many, many universities managed.
Yeah.
Because by that time, little online had already started. Correct? We already knew. And
The
those
tools were
things,
there.
The tools
Yeah.
were there. And then we just had to tweak them. Correct? So I think that is important. Teaching learners how to assess what's happening in the world and connect the dots. You know, what in my olden days, my teacher would say, environmental scanning. You need to have your radar up. And some people will do it better than the others. You know, there's always 10%, even when I was in college, 10% of the student community was ambitious. Correct? They had huge aspirations. They pushed the teachers. The 10% who really didn't care. Correct? And then there's this middle majority that's saying, I'll go where people push me
Where
to
the
go.
herd is going.
Correct? Because there's safety in numbers, right? So I think the same thing's going to happen. So we will focus on those important, what I think a few years ago, people said 21st century skills. Correct? I mean, the future of work, and everybody's talking about the same thing.
Yeah, the future of work started a long time ago.
The same things, critical thinking, problem solving, cross-cultural. And how to use. And to your chat GPT, we actually have trained not only our faculty, but we are also training school teachers.
Okay.
AI is here to stay.
Oh, yeah.
Students are going to go on to ChatGPT. Why wouldn't they?
I'm on there all the time.
I mean, according to me, if you're intelligent, you are looking for ways. The only thing is AI as a tool, as an assistant, versus AI as a crutch. And I think that's where the worry for many is that will I stop thinking because I go on to AI and then what you use, you lose? Or do we teach them how to do it? And therefore, we teach them how to do it. We do workshops. The whole thing, copy without the prompts and all of that. I mean, that's a dumb mistake to make. And obviously, your teachers haven't taught you. We do workshops on this. So, and it's a tool. And I think history is littered with these kind of examples, right? Technology changes, new tools come in. We struggle for a little while, we go a little
Then
paranoid.
we adapt,
And then we adapt, and then we teach our kids and our students. And
yeah, I love what you said in terms of the main thing we can teach the next generation is adaptability, right? That's what we can teach them. Resilience and adaptability so that they can manage through everything that comes at them. And I also like that you raised the points about soft skills, right? A lot of times now we forget about soft skills. And with the uprising of AI, that's the one thing that we as human can bring is soft skills, whether it is in interpersonal skills, in creativity, all these things, because I'm a creative person in my work, I need to be creative. As much as ChatGPT is my best friend, it just cannot give me the creative part of it. That still needs to be me. And I kind of love that because that means that I can't be replaced yet. So, it's always good to have that element. But now I'll tell you something. A lot of my friends, even me, right? So I come from like a highly educated background in science, but now I left all of that behind to do something else. A lot of my friends have trained as lawyers, as doctors, as engineers, which are the classic jobs in the past, who are now moving away from the traditional jobs and going into new things. And there's this new kind of like rising assumption that you don't need a degree to do anything. And we always hear the stories of all the university dropouts who became super successful. What do you have to say about this? How much do you agree or disagree?
Well, as far as the dropouts are concerned, I think we only hear about the celebrated cases.
Which are like 0.01%.
Exactly. 0.0001% probably. We don't hear about the majority of dropouts who weren't able to do anything. I think a degree is still valuable. The very simple reason that degrees are structured, broad frameworks for learning. I think universities are good and academics are good at visualizing the future, planning what students need to have, and ensuring that 16 to, let's say, 25-year-olds are able to learn a large number of things in a very structured fashion with certain outcomes that are measurable. Because I think this is what parents and society want. That how do I know that my kid really learned? Here you go. I think after 25, the value is more in terms of short courses, stackables, what they call micro credentials, go for 6-day workshops, etc., where you constantly keep, upskilling, reskilling, etc. But the basic foundation of a degree, I think, cannot be, I can't emphasize enough why it's important. Because it's not just about the learning of content. Colleges and universities are also great places for figuring out who you are, for making friends, for having fights and making up again, for working in teams sometimes with people you love and sometimes people who you actually don't even know, but the class pushes you to work together. A variety of people from diverse backgrounds, having multiple perspectives, teachers with varied perspectives. The concept of a little bit of discipline, which every professional organization wants. And if you were to set up your own, definitely you would want it. So I think all of those things added on to the content and added on to the opportunities that you have to experiment and make mistakes is huge. Take away this, and then what you have is smaller interventions and smaller engagements, but comprehensively at that age where you're building a foundation for your future. What do you have? How do I make sure? I'm petrified when people talk about online. I'm petrified of generations of people sitting alone in their bedroom. In front of their laptops and learning a lot, but not learning all those skills that we just talked about as being important to navigate in the future. So if you have, and of course this is the difficult part, right? If you have access to a formal education program, then you must avail of it. And I think it's the government's job and organizations like ours and universities like ours to ensure that we widen that access as much as possible, because so many students or so many kids and young adults in that age group of, let's say, 16 to 25 don't have access for a variety of reasons. So I think that's a challenge for sure. But if you do, I think everyone should grab it. And the good thing is that now there are options available, right? There are community colleges, there are part-time programs, there are lots of options that are available, and its value is I think its value cannot be replaced. I don't see a future
Yeah.
where we do away with this and not pay the price. In some form or the other, it is going to continue. You know?
Yeah, and I guess institutions can evolve, right? We can start
Absolutely.
teaching entrepreneurship. We can start teaching
We've
all the
already
things.
started, right?
Most universities
So many
have.
universities offer hybrid programs.
Yeah.
So many universities have a 20% online component. So many universities are doing so many entrepreneurship, innovation, and that's great. Because I think universities also are very conscious, right? That societies have placed so much responsibility on them. You know, I mean, the number of parents. So for the last so many years, I have been teaching 18 to 24-year-olds primarily.
Okay.
The number of parents who've come up and said, "You'll take care of this, right? We struggled with this. We weren't able to do this, but will you take care of it?" And I look at them and said, "I try. We'll try together."
Okay.
Correct? But it's not like we have a magic wand. But the reality is that parents, the media, society, government, every single group you can think of is looking at universities and saying, "You have this captive group, make your magic happen, and transform them into well-adjusted, happy individuals who also can be productive." Now that's the goal. We try very hard. But for that personal connect, that social connect, that ability to sit down in front of you and say, "You didn't get it, let's try it again."
Right.
Okay. No need, in school we did this, right? Don't pull the pigtail. Now it's like you don't have to cancel this person out of your life because of this.
We can have a conversation.
Exactly. Have conversations, resolve conflict.
Yeah.
How will that happen without a formal space?
Right. I'll tell you, even for me, when we were teaching during COVID and right after COVID, and then when I saw the students who spent, let's say, first, second year of university at home, then they came in the third year, the social skills are not there.
Absolutely.
They all sit in the class. I'm not even teaching yet, but they don't speak to each other.
Yeah.
And they're all friends on Instagram. They all know each other, but there's no interaction in person. Yeah. And I realized the importance of those little interaction in the corridor, in the hallway, on a Teams is different.
Yeah.
And even for me, like the 8 years I was in university were the best years of my life. I mean, I was there for as long as I could. And I found myself, and I really liked how you said that, because I didn't know who I was before I went to university. You just do whatever you're told to do. And then you discover sides of your personality, things that you want to do, the type of people you want to. I remember I started university with a group of like 40 people who were my friends. Right. And then by the end of it, you have 2 friends.
Yeah. But they're 2 really good friends.
Yeah. And now they're my friends for life. They're still friends till today. And it's just this growth. You need to have it in an environment with your peers. Yeah. Right. And you don't have that. When you go to work, it's very different.
Absolutely.
So I completely agree with you on that. Yeah. But now I have a question. It just came to mind. In the 40 years that you've been educating, what has been like one of your top special moments that you still carry with you?
So there have been a couple.
Okay.
I mean, there have been many. I'm
sure there are many.
I'm trying to very rapidly
go through the memory file.
Yeah, cull a few. So I used to teach marketing.
Okay.
And I remember at the Symbiosis College in Pune, where I was teaching, I had many, many years ago designed a way of assessing students based on projects that they were supposed to do. So we taught certain things, and then they had to create imaginary hypothetical products and the entire marketing mix and stuff like that. And then they were really working at it. So I said, you know what, let's put up an exhibition. And then that became larger than life. And so I said, okay, let's invite people to come and see it. And then from an exhibition with posters, it became, let's put up stalls. Okay. And then the word spread, and we had people from organizations actually come in. So for example, at that point in time, Idea Cellular was very popular, and one of the students had come up with a new SIM card and stuff. And I remember standing there with these corporate managers, and somehow the word spread, and we had really important people. Begin saying, I could actually do this. Can you come and make this presentation to my team back in the office? And I stood there and I looked at the students and I fell in love all over again. And I looked at them and I said, wow, the creativity and the innovation amongst these young adults, it makes me happy every time. When I hear people say today's generation, I'm like, who are you talking about? You don't even know them. They are the brightest, most energetic. And if they're not energetic in your class, there is something wrong with you.
You might be the problem.
You are obviously not creating a space.
Yeah.
So whether it is their creativity in this, whether it is the kind of reflective essays, all my moments have to do with either students surprising themselves. But I think one of the biggest things was at the School for Liberal Arts, a parent called me up. And a parent said, I did not know that my child had this in her. And I said, what does that mean? He said, I didn't think she was the brightest. I didn't think school marks didn't reflect that. And now I'm looking at the work that she's doing, and I'm looking at the essays that she's writing, and I'm looking at the assignments, and I'm blown away, and I have to pinch myself that, is this my kid? And I said, yeah, it's your kid, and this is what we see every single day. And he said, thank the college that I didn't see it. For 18 years, I have lived with this child, and I never saw it. And I said, wow. And I think that's the power of a great program. That's the power of a wonderful university. And I've worked with Symbiosis for 40 years.
Oh my God.
I got married, went to Pune, joined Symbiosis, honestly speaking, because it was the only college at that point of time that didn't force me to teach in a regional language. Because we had foreign students, right?
Right.
And I said, this is my place. And then went in, fell in love with the founder, with the institute, with everything. And then the School for Liberal Arts. And I think that whole autonomy that the team of teachers gets to create a space. That's a safe space for students to come to, share their thoughts, share their opinions, do what they want to do, create. Even at Symbiosis Dubai, students are suggesting to teachers, why don't we do this project? Why don't we do this assignment? Why don't we go here? And I love that. And so professionally, I think these are some of my favorite moments.
That's beautiful.
And I just love, and to be honest, I've been lucky. I never left college. You said that you had wonderful years in college. I haven't left.
You haven't left?
I haven't left.
Oh my goodness. But now you've even gone with the same college to a different country.
Absolutely.
Right? So what differences do you see between Symbiosis India and Dubai Symbiosis? Do you see any difference in terms of the students, the way the country runs? What has been your learning? I know you've only been here 9 months, but how is it going?
It's going wonderfully. I think it's been one of the best experiences of my life. On a personal note, my family is thrilled
of course,
that I am here because, at my age, the opportunity to go to another country and to do what I love doing is tremendous. What is different? Of course, there are things that are different.
Yeah.
But the differences are all good. I think all countries that are progressive and understand the value of education do certain things. Paperwork might differ, documentation might differ. I've loved my experiences of working with KHDA and CAA. I found them absolutely responsive. I found the Ministry of Higher Education absolutely responsive, which is a delight. I haven't faced any bureaucratic barriers or flaws. I think students are students everywhere.
Yeah.
Language might change, they might look different, culturally they might be a little different, but the culture in terms of being a student is the same.
That stays the same across the
Stays the
world.
same.
Yeah.
When I started teaching in 1982, there was a particular percentage of students who were hungry to learn. That percentage has grown slightly. That hunger is still there. There's a particular percentage of students, which luckily is shrinking, who really don't care. So what I've observed is that the UAE is I think, very progressive in terms of, and very clear and articulate. And that's what I love about this. Clear and articulate about what they want universities to try and do. So whether it's AI and the use of technology, whether it is sustainability, whether it is innovation, that these are our goals and help partner with us to reach those goals. I think Symbiosis fits in very well because that has been the Symbiosis philosophy as well. In a country that, like India, setting up a university or setting up an educational group for foreign students was unheard of in those days and even today. Correct. So knowing that international understanding through quality education is your mantra. Vasudeva Kutumbakam is Sanskrit. It means the world is one family. What it basically means is that for any human being who has learned to be open-minded and liberal in thinking, that person will only see the similarities amongst people, not the differences. Focus on the similarities and then respect the differences, and then the world becomes your family. That is the same ethos that I felt when I landed here. So many nationalities, respect for diversity, correct? Everybody has their own space. Everybody meets. I mean, I've had the best of time here, and I haven't actually struggled. I mean, the same setting up, teething problems that I would have faced there and that I did face there, I face here. Talking to parents and convincing them about how do you prepare for a unknown world. Same thing there, same thing here. I think the concerns are now global. I think higher education's challenges, higher education's concerns are now of a global nature. Local nuances, of course, but therefore I haven't found that much of a difference. And I've just loved, I think even the agencies that I work with have only made me feel comfortable. And I have a feeling that might not have been the case back at home. I don't know whether foreigners who come to India settle in, I don't know. I mean, I haven't had that experience, but here people have gone out of their way to make me feel comfortable.
Well, that's beautiful. And like one of my parting questions for you is, obviously this is a podcast targeting mainly women, and you are viewed by many of us like a very powerful woman who has achieved a lot and who has a lot of confidence. And one question I get all the time from the audience is, how do you become more confident? And I genuinely think that a lot of us put blockades in our own heads with things like imposter syndrome or all of this. What will people say? But what is your advice to anyone out there who's watching you right now in terms of how do you achieve your purpose, especially as a woman, whether you have, all the cultural background and baggage that we do?
I think it's important for everyone, but especially for women, because society places so many responsibilities and expectations on them. And as one of my friends recently said, women are getting liberated, but men aren't. They're still not changing diapers. And when they do, they post it on Insta. And I've been doing that all my life. I'm so big deal that you changed a diaper once. And is it Insta worthy? Jokes aside, I think we're still in that transition where equality is still some while away. What I would suggest, and I think I've done this myself. I mean, honestly speaking, I believe that every woman has to first try and understand what is it that we really want. Do I want to stay at home? Do I love children? Do I love cooking? Do I love gardening? Do I love taking care of family? Do I love sitting at home and doing X, Y, and Z? Would I like to do something small at home? Do I want to enter into a job? Do I want to convert that job into a career? Do I want to travel? Do I want to climb the corporate ladder? Do I want to set up my own? Whatever. I think that clarity is step number one. Step number two is owning it. And I think this is where we struggle. That with every choice, there are some consequences. The fact is that while I'm here, I'm not with my parents. I'm happy that my husband is. Is it the same? Is there a sacrifice? Of course, there is a sacrifice. But I think there's sacrifice in all the choices that we make. You know, my grandmother was at home and she sacrificed the potential of doing something outside and of growing and having an identity of her own. Correct? So, how badly do we want it? Who do we want to be in our own eyes? To slowly train yourself, and you have to keep talking to yourself, that when you look in the mirror, you see yourself through your own eyes, not through your husband's eyes, not through society's eyes, but you look at yourself and say, does this really make me happy? And then the ability to be able to have those conversations with people who are near and dear with you. Because I think sometimes we underestimate the support that our family and friends would give us if we're honest with them. You know? And I think every woman has huge potential. But I also feel that the burden on us today is, oh, you've got to have a career. Oh, you've got to do well.
There's no choice.
No, everybody doesn't have to be an entrepreneur, and everyone doesn't have to be a CEO, and everyone shouldn't be.
Right,
Yeah. And you should be fine doing whatever, and you have to respect it yourself. And I think one lesson that I have learned is, if you don't respect yourself, nobody else does. So the ability to, and again, like I say, you know, it's those polite conversations. It's those loving conversations where you are, and I think we hesitate to share what we want with our families. Men are so good at it.
Oh, yeah.
Correct? That they're so good at saying, you know what, I really need this. I want this.
Oh, I don't like this.
Or I don't like this.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's food or whether it's a job or a transfer or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Women need to learn that. And I think the sisterhood, as we say, is so important. Therefore, you know, programs like yours, very important, because they need to see. And I think they also need to see that you can try and balance both. Personal, academic, professional growth, along with family, happiness and growth. And I think those are things I see the younger generation now managing. I see my nieces and my nephews and my own children and, you know, daughters-in-law. They manage. They talk to each other. They resolve issues. They share the burden. And to be honest, today, the world is difficult. The world is complex. You're not going to be able to do anything on your own. Correct? So a little bit of faith, you know, a little bit of respect for yourself. Talk to people. Have those conversations. Don't plug it in and then suddenly one day you explode. You know, where someone looks at you and say, I never knew you even wanted that. So I think we have to get into the habit. We're so compassionate. We're trained, we're conditioned, right? To be compassionate to other people's needs. A little bit of that compassion for ourselves, you know.
I love that. And I think what you're saying is that women can have it all. You just need to decide what your all is.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Doctor, this was beautiful. Thank you so much for your time. This was a wonderful conversation. And I hope to see you, given that we're neighbors. So I'm going to come see you one day at the university.
Come to Symbiosis Dubai. It's beautiful. We're in DKP. And I'll tell you why it's beautiful. It's beautiful because you will see a community of faculty, staff members, students who are just so excited. I mean, I love it. I walk in every single morning and there's an energy, and that energy buoys me up because that's the secret sauce that you need for institutions to be successful. And because, see, we are successful when our students are successful.
Yeah.
We grow when our students grow. And I'm just so excited. I'd love to share that. Please do come.
Absolutely.
Meet our students.
Thank you. And I look forward to having more conversations with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.